Hello and welcome everyone. Morning stretching while trying to learn the key data of a lake Chapala in Mexico. The exercises are adjusted for me, so if you follow along with the exercises, do it at your own pace, but it's also at your own risk. So the lake Chapala, or named Lago de Chapala, is in Mexico. Mexico's here. Here are the United States of America, and there is Mexico. The United Estado Unido de Mexico. There's Guatemala, so Mexico is here between the United States of America and Guatemala. There is Mexico, and it's named the Lake Chapala or Lago de Chapala. And we are trying to learn these key data. So the name, Lake Chapala or Lago de Chapala. And now the first exercise of the morning stretching. The feet are quite wide apart and pointing a bit to the outside, and we breathe in. Go up and breathe out. And breathe in. And again out. And breathe in. And again out. And in. And out. And again in. Out. And one last time in. Out. And again in. Out. And again in, out, and now in, and close the legs. And we've done the first exercise. We breathe always in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we use the breathing to stretch the muscles from the inside. We try to breathe into the chest more, not so much in the tummy. And stretch all the muscles by expanding the volume of the lungs from the inside. So the name, Lake Chapala or Lago de Chapala. And the location, it is in the states Jalisco and Michoacan, the states of Mexico. Jalisco and Michoacan, and in Mexico, it lies 1,500 meters above sea level. So it is in the Mexican states, Jalisco and Michoacan, and lies 1,500 meters above sea level. It is here, it is close to the city Guadalajara. So the next exercise, the feet are a bit closer than just a moment ago, but more than shoulder width apart. We breathe in and bring the arms up, and breathe out and go down to the side. And now breathe in and open the rib cage. And again out. And breathe in again. And out, back into the middle. And now breathe in again. And out to the other side. And breathe in and open the rib cage. And open. And again in. And out. The Lake Chapala or Lago de Chapala lies between the borders of Jalisco and Michoacan and is 1,500 meters above sea level. Jalisco, Michoacan. And the inflows. So we have the Rio Lerma, the Rio Zula, the Rio Huaracha, and the Rio Duero. Rio Lerma. Let's take the Rio Lerma. The inflows, for example, is the Rio Lerma. And the outflow is the Rio Grande de Santiago. The Rio Grande de Santiago. It flows into the Pacific Ocean. But it hasn't happened in the last 30 years because there's not enough inflow through the Rio Lerma. So the outflow is the Rio Grande de Santiago into the Pacific, but it hasn't happened in the last 30 years. There's not enough water in the lake. The next exercise, the feet are together, and we breathe in and bring the arms up, and out and bring one arm down. And now we breathe in and reach to both ends. Out, back up, and the same to the other side. Breathe in, and out, down with the arm, breathe in and reach, and out. Lake Chapala, or Lago de Chapala, is in Mexico. We just take Mexico, and it is 1,500 meters above sea level. And the inflow, for example, is the Rio Lerma, and the outflow is the Rio Grande de Santiago. And now the size, it has a surface area of 1,100 square kilometers. So the surface area has 1,100 square kilometers. And it is at the longest expanse of the length, these are 80 kilometers, and at the widest width, 18 kilometers. So it has a surface area of 1,100 square kilometers, and at the longest distance, these are 80 kilometers long and 18 wide. 80 long, 18 wide, and all over 1,100 square kilometers width. The next exercise, the feet are more than shoulder width wide apart. We breathe in, and now we go down with the upper part of the body, and we just hang down and make deep and long breaths. And breathe in and out. And again in and out. And again in and again out. And in. And now we go to one leg. And breathe out. And breathe again in. And out. And one more time in. And we go into the middle and over to the other leg and breathe out. And in. And out. And again in. Out, back into the middle, and we take a deep breath in, and then we come up. Breathe in. Now come up with a round back and stack one vertebra of the spine over each other and make a backward shoulder roll at the top. The lake Chapala, or Lago de Chapala, is in Mexico. It lies 1,500 meters above sea level. It has a surface area of 1,100 square kilometers, and whether at the maximum length 80 kilometers and at the maximum width 18 kilometers. An inflow is the Rio Lerma, and an outflow is the Rio Grande de Santiago. Now the depth, it has a maximum depth of 10.5 meters. So just, even though it's 80 kilometers long, the most deepest point of the water is just 10.5 meters, just 10 meters deep. And on average, it is 7 meters deep. So there's one point in this 1,100 square kilometers wide, big lake, which is at 1.80 kilometers long, where the water is 10.5 meters deep, but on average, it's 7 meters. This is pretty shallow, and it gets even more shallower, not only because the lake is drainaging, but because the area around the lake is deforested, so the forests and the trees are cutted around the lake, and therefore the more erosion comes. So when the trees are cutted from the mountains around, it lies 1,500 meters above the sea level. When the trees are cutted, and I don't know what it's called, and when there comes more erosion, so the trees are cutted, and the trees with their, whatever it's called, the branches underground, keep the earth by them. But when the trees are cut and there are no trees, the earth and all the stones and the sand can come easier down, and all comes down into the lake, and the lake gets much shallower. And that is another problem, because now the lake gets less deep and is more shallower, and the sunlight can heat the water. So if the lake is very deep, the sun heats only the top, and at the bottom it's cold. But now the lake becomes more and more shallow, and therefore the lake not only gets warmer, and that is a problem for some fishes, but it's also drainages more faster, because the sun heats the lake faster and the water evaporates faster. And it drainages, it's desiccated even more faster. And that's why there's no outflow through the Rio Grande de Santiago since 30 years. Now the next exercise, the garden pose. We breathe in and bring the arms up. We have the feet a bit apart and rolled around, two hands apart with the heels. And now breathe out and go down. Bring the elbows between the knees and push the knees to the outside. And we breathe in and we try to be as tall as we can with the back and as straight as we can. and out, and we go back. And again in. And out, back into the garden pose. Try to be as tall as you can. And you repeat this now. Breathe in. And out, again, back up. And breathe in. And out, back into the garden pose. And now if you can, without injuring yourself, we come up as slowly as we can in one straight line. Breathe in, try to be as tall and straight with the back as we can. And out and come slowly up. And it is the largest lake of Mexico since the 17th century. In the 17th century, the lake, this was the largest one, Lake Texcoco, was drained by humans. So the Lake Texcoco was the largest lake, but when it was drained through several reasons, and yes, it was drained, and the name is Desiccated. Desiccated just means there's no water anymore. Through humans, for several reasons, is this lake desiccated, and that happens in the 17th century, a bit early and a bit later also, and there's something left, not much, but not much. And so in the 17th century, this lake Chapala is the largest one of Mexico's. And we go into the next thing, next pose. The feet on one leg are forward pointing, and the other heel comes above the knee. Do it only if you can without injuring yourself. And we breathe in and out and come down. And the area where the Lake Texcoco was is today the area where Mexico City is. Mexico City is the capital of Mexico. So the capital of Mexico, Mexico City, is where 500 years ago the Lago Texcoco was. And come up. And we have a bit more. We have 3 islands within the Lake Chapala. The Isla de los Alcranes, the Isla Mezcala, and La Isla Menor. Now with the other leg, heel above the knee. Do it only if you can do it without injuring yourself. You breathe in and out, we go down. The Lake Chapala, or Lago de la Chapala, is in Mexico. It lies 1,500 meters above surface above sea level. It has a surface of 1,100 square kilometers. At the widest length, it is 80 kilometers. At the widest width, it is 18 kilometers. It has as inflow the Rio Lerma and as outflow the Rio Grande de Santiago. And we last exercise. We breathe in and out. It's open for me. Breathe in and out. And again in and out. And again in and out. And one last time, breathe in and out. And in, out, and in, close the legs. And this was the morning stretching. It has a maximum depth of 10.5 meters, an average depth of 7 meters. It has 3 islands, the Lago de Alcranes, Isla de los Alcranes, Isla Mezcala, and La Isla Menor. It's the largest lake Mexico's, since it surpassed in the 17th century Lago Texcoco. And yes, it has a water volume of 8.1 cubic kilometers. So the whole water inside the Lago Chapala are 8.1 cubic kilometers. Surface area 1,500 square kilometers. Water volume 8.1 cubic kilometers. And this is the end. I thank you very much for participating and your attention. And until the next time.